Hello, Morgan at Fox Sports Lab, AFL. Got the Chief here, round 9. Looking forward to this one, Chief. Now, the tips, just marginally ahead.
Are you laughing? Are you gloating?
I am gloating.
Mate,
Can you believe it?
we both had ordinary weeks last week, but mine was even worse.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Well, let's clean the slate. Now, we've got Carlton and Melbourne to kick us off. So I'm back on the blue wagon. You happy with that?
Big game. You're back on the Blues, are you?
I'm back on the Blues. Now, last week, worst tackle count differential. So lost it by 34 against Collingwood when you can't do that in big games. Worst result under Michael Voss, but they're going to bounce back in my book. Who do you think?
Yeah, I'm worried about this one. I'm going to go with the Dees. This is the first start of my redemption, pegging you back. Their defence was very, very good. I was a little bit worried about the way Carlton moved the ball last week, but trouble is, mate, from one week to the next, some of these teams are just having massive form reversals. Carlton's form last month hasn't been that good, so I thought they'd be better last week. They weren't. I'm going with Melbourne, going with the form side.
Okay, beautiful. So we disagree on the first one. Hopefully the second one's the same. So Geelong and Port. Now, I did the Geelong game last week. They had their first loss, but Stengel, his last 6 weeks are his best return in his whole career in terms of scores. So he's kicking 2+ goals a game, 6 score involvements. Cameron Hawkins don't get it done, and he's bobbing up. But I'm back on Geelong for this. What about you?
Yeah, Jeremy had his feet on his wrong legs last week. I don't know how he was trying to kick the foot. He couldn't play that badly again. Big tomahawk. Someone needs to draw the footy just so he understands what it looks like. But you could not tip Port down at the Cattery, particularly after the Connor Rosé drama. So I can't see Port having a win down there.
Yep, and we go to Freo and Sydney. So Sydney last week belted up the Giants in Battle of the Bridge, Derby, whatever you want to call it up there in New South Wales. But Sydney, though, contested ball, like dominance, clearance dominance, inside 50 dominance. It's hard to find a weakness in their game, so that's why I'm going with them.
Yeah, best team in the competition at the moment. Freo bounced back last week, had the win that they needed to have, got themselves back up and running. But I will not tip against Sydney at the moment. They're just playing too well.
All right, well, let's move to the next one. Essendon and the Giants. Do you think the Giants can bounce back after a little pantsing on the weekend and Essendon just keep getting it done? So
yeah,
who do you tipping?
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Mind you, I don't think the Bombers were overly impressive against West Coast last week, and maybe the hangover of that game could hurt them. I've got to go with the Giants, even though I was disappointed with the way they played last week, and they're going to Marvel Stadium again. I have to tip the Giants.
Yeah, I'm with the Giants as well. So Adelaide, Brisbane, this one's a tough game. I know Adelaide are favourites in this, but Brisbane, over the last 5 weeks, they're ranked 5th in terms of points against, and they're the best team in the comp at the moment at defending ball movement. So they're starting to get their mojo back. I'm intrigued to see who you're tipping in this.
Yeah. Sometimes stats are misleading to go, I don't think Brisbane are going that well. They played a deplorable Gold Coast last week. That was an embarrassing performance from the Suns. Absolutely insipid, the effort that they put in. And now Brisbane have been racked by injuries, so there's going to be a few new faces coming into the lineup. Adelaide got themselves up for the showdown. Can they do it 2 weeks in a row? They better, because I'm back on the Crows bandwagon in this one. And this is a tough go. I thought this was one of the hardest ones of the weekend.
Yeah, and I reckon Adelaide, they're coming into...
You're going with me again, Mr. Safety, are you?
Yeah, I am at the moment. So I'm going to go Adelaide. Right, let's whip through the other ones. This one's in Tassie, so the Hawks and the Saints.
Again, a really, really tough game. Generally concerned about this. I did St Kilda North last week. Wasn't a particularly good spectacle. They're not playing that well, the Saints. Hawks had a great win. Can they win 2 in a row? Quite possibly. But I've just got a feeling St Kilda might bounce back. Ross will have them revved up, and Max King really needs to assert himself.
Yeah, you've been critical of him. He's just not producing. Like, what's the criticism around what he's doing?
Well, he's got all the weapons, but he doesn't use them. It's just a little bit too static in his movement. He doesn't jump at the ball enough. He's a big bloke. He's got lightning leg speed. He's just got to get more involved. And as soon as he starts to understand that he can dominate contests, I think he will.
Yeah, well, I'm going the Hawks in this, and I'll come back to this game too because I've got a big call in it. So we'll whip through the other ones. Richmond, Western Bulldogs.
Mate, just imagine what happens to the kennel if the Tigers roll them over this week. Now, I've got to go with the Bulldogs having a response after dropping that game to Hawthorn last week. There's plenty of talent in this lineup. They're getting a Tigers outfit that's really battling, but holy cow, the heavens will open up if the Bulldogs get rolled this week, let me tell you.
Yeah, Bevo will be in the pound. I'm with you as well, so going with the doggies. Now, Gold Coast, North Melbourne. This one, TIO Stadium up in Darwin.
Yes. And we can make all sorts of cases as to why this will be a close game, and I'm going to make that case a little bit later on as well, Diggo. But there is nothing in the football world at the moment that allows me to tip North Melbourne. You just cannot sit there and say North Melbourne are going to win a game of football because I can't see it coming.
Yep, I'm with you. And Gold Coast for mine. Now, Collingwood, West Coast. It's only one word. Collingwood. Yes, big call time. Now, Hawks. I'm actually tipping the Hawks, but I think, the 9.5. Not only are they going to win, you give them a little goal and a half start. I've got to take that. So that's my big call for the week.
Well, that was my big call last week, if you remember. The Hawks. I said small margin against the Bulldogs, but I didn't tip them to actually win. So that was the disappointing part. This time I'm going bottom of the ladder, North Melbourne. They will cover the margin against Gold Coast because you know what happens up in Darwin, Diggo?
What happens at Darwin?
It gets dewy, it gets slippery, it often rains, and they're low-scoring affairs and people can't handle the ball properly. So I reckon it'll be your typical scrappy match up there. We both expect Gold Coast to bounce back, but I wouldn't be expecting a giant margin.
Yeah, I like that. 43.5, wet conditions. They'll all need gloves on to keep the ball, it's going to be like a bit of soap. All right, Chief. Outstanding work from you. You might have pegged a couple back this week if your tips fall its way, but I'm not confident.
Tips are depressing me, mate, honestly.
All right, enjoy your week.
Cheers.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.